If you're relocating to Jacksonville, Florida, one of the biggest decisions you'll face isn't which neighborhood to live in, it's whether you should rent first or buy immediately. And the truth is, there isn't one right answer. I've worked with many people relocating to Jacksonville from states like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, and California, and even overseas. Some were incredibly glad that they rented first. Others wished they had bought immediately because they ended up spending thousands on rent while home prices and interest rates changed. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the pros and cons of both options, explain when renting makes sense and when buying makes sense, and help you avoid some of the biggest mistakes people make when moving to Jacksonville. So let's just dive right in. Before we talk about renting versus buying, you need to understand something unique about Jacksonville. Jacksonville is huge. In fact, it's the largest city by land area in the continental United States. Many people relocating here assume it's similar to other Florida cities where everything is concentrated around a downtown core. That's not Jacksonville. Living in Jacksonville Beach feels completely different from living in Riverside. Living in Nocatee feels completely different than living in Mandarin. And living in Ponte Vedra feels completely different than San Marco. You can drive 45 minutes and feel like you're in a completely different city. That's why this decision matters so much, because you're not just choosing a house, you're choosing a lifestyle. Let's start with renting. There are definitely situations where renting first is the smarter move. So, number one, if you've never visited Jacksonville, if you've never spent meaningful time here, renting can be a great option. A neighborhood that looks perfect on Zillow may not feel right when you're actually living there. Maybe the commute is longer than expected. Maybe you realize you'd rather be closer to the beach. Maybe you discover you love the walkability of Riverside or San Marco. Renting gives you time to explore before making a long-term commitment. Number two, you're unsure about your job situation. If you're relocating for work but aren't certain you'll stay long-term, renting may provide flexibility. Life changes, companies reorganize, remote work policies change, opportunities arise. Renting can reduce the risk of purchasing a home only to need to move again a year later. Reason number three, you're learning Jacksonville's geography. One thing surprises almost everyone relocating here: the distances. People often underestimate how far apart different areas are. A home may seem perfect online until you realize your daily commute crosses the river, takes 45 minutes each way. Renting can help you learn traffic patterns, bridge routes, and the areas you naturally gravitate towards. Now, let's talk about the drawbacks. The biggest one is simple. You're building someone else's equity. Every month you pay rent and that money's gone. Meanwhile, homeowners may be building equity through appreciation and principal reduction. Another challenge is rising rents. Rental rates can increase significantly when leases renew. You also have less control over your living situation. The landlord can sell the property, increase the rent, or decide not to renew your lease. And perhaps, most importantly, many renters eventually discover they already knew where they wanted to live after only a few months, and they end up paying moving expenses twice, once into the rental and again into their purchased home. Before we continue, if you're thinking about relocating to Jacksonville and you'd like a personalized neighborhood recommendation based on your lifestyle, your commute, your budget, and your goals, reach out to me directly. Think of me as your guide. I help people relocate to Jacksonville all the time and can often narrow down the best areas before you even arrive. You'll find my contact information below, and I'll be happy to help you create a relocation plan that's tailored specifically to you. Now, let's talk about when buying immediately makes sense. Reason number one, you already know Jacksonville well. Maybe you visited many times. Maybe you have family here. Maybe you've lived here before. If you already are familiar with the area and know exactly where you want to live, buying can make a lot of sense. The learning curve has already happened. You know the neighborhoods, you know the lifestyle, you know what you're looking for. Reason number two to purchase straight away, you're relocating permanently. If you're moving here for the long haul, buying can allow you to start building equity immediately. Instead of spending a year renting and then buying, you can begin building wealth through home ownership from day one. Reason number three, you have a stable financial situation. Buying works best when you have stable employment, emergency savings, a solid down payment, confidence you'll remain in the area. If those boxes are all checked, buying may be the more efficient financial move. And reason number four, you have specific housing needs. Many relocating families have very specific requirements. Maybe you need a boat dock, waterfront access, top-rated schools, space for multi-generational living, a large yard for pets. Finding the perfect rental can actually be harder than finding the right home to purchase. Whether you rent or buy, don't focus only on the monthly payment. Consider also the insurance costs, flood insurance, if applicable, HOA fees, commute expenses, utilities, maintenance costs, property taxes. I've seen buyers fall in love with a home only to discover the total ownership costs are very different than expected. Always look at the complete financial picture. After helping many people relocate to Jacksonville, here's what I generally tell clients. If you've never been here, have significant uncertainty, or simply aren't sure which area fits your lifestyle, renting first can be a smart decision. But if you've done your research, you visited multiple neighborhoods, understand the area and plan to stay long-term, buying immediately often makes sense and can save you from moving twice. The key is not choosing based on fear. Choose based on information. The more you know about Jacksonville neighborhoods, commute patterns, lifestyle options, and the housing market, the easier the decision becomes. If you're relocating to Jacksonville and wondering whether you should rent or buy, I'd love to help. I can walk you through the pros and cons based on your specific situation, recommend neighborhoods that fit your lifestyle, help you avoid costly relocation mistakes. So just go ahead and reach out. Leave your questions in the comments below. Subscribe for more Jacksonville relocation and real estate insights. And if you're planning a move, reach out directly. I'm Amanda Bolwell, and I look forward to helping you make your move to Jacksonville as smooth and stress-free as possible. And as always, I thank you so much for watching.